Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Naomi, and today I want to talk to you about a really big question that comes up for parents during vacation season. And that big question is, can you have a real vacation with your kids? So this is definitely a question that's come up for me over the past 6.5 years, ever since I had my first child. But I think it's also a question that comes up for most parents. And, part of the reason that it comes up is that, of course we want to have really awesome vacations with our kids. And of course we want to believe it's possible, but sometimes we feel it's not. In fact, I know myself, I have said in the past, no, you totally can't have an awesome vacation with kids because, they're kids and they suck the fun out of everything. No, I'm totally kidding. No, but I think that, we have two real issues that we need to address as parents in order to get real with the idea of having a phenomenal vacation with kids and, to really give ourselves the opportunity to not only believe it's possible, but to create that possibility. The first thing that we need to do is, as parents, we need to define the terms of vacation. So we need to get really clear about what a vacation actually is, right? So not only do we need to establish what a vacation is, but we need to then set the criteria for that vacation so that it's really clear to us, like, what makes a satisfying vacation with our kids. So that's number one. And then number two, we have to stop comparing our vacations now as parents to the vacations that we had pre-kid, right? Of course they're going to be completely different. And if I say to myself, oh my God, I need my vacations to be, exactly the way that they were before, I had kids, that's not going to happen again, particularly if I go on vacation with my children, right? Does that make sense? So okay, that's number two. So number one, we need to redefine the terms of vacation. And number two, we need to stop looking for that perfect vacation or that ideal vacation that existed pre-kid that no longer exists in the same way now that we're parents. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about what a vacation is. And I actually talked about this with my husband on the way back from our vacation just a few days ago, because I really wanted to know his thoughts. And I'm not going to share his thoughts, I'm going to share mine. But it was a really interesting conversation because our thoughts were, for the most part, relatively similar. And what we came up with is that the idea of vacation is simply that you are taking a break from something. Okay, so you can make it really broad or you can make it really narrow, right? So to take a vacation, it could be like, if you are living in a really hot and humid and kind of sticky place over the summer, you might take a vacation and take a break from that hot and stickiness and go somewhere cold, right? Like go to Alaska or, go, I don't know, somewhere else really cold. Or on the other end of the spectrum, if you live somewhere where it doesn't get very warm or, where there isn't much beach or where, you don't have access to sun on a regular basis, you might want to take a vacation, take a break from that everyday life and go somewhere where it is warm and sunny, where you can go to the beach every day, where you are by the ocean or by a river or any number of things that are not sort of in that ordinary pattern of your life, right? So it might be taking a break from the ordinary, right? You could also take a vacation from social media. You could also take a vacation, from your kids. You can take a vacation, a break from anything. Okay, but what you have to get really clear about is, what is this vacation? What am I taking a pause from? What am I giving myself a little space from so that I can, completely refresh and renew and restore and come back feeling a little bit more whole, right? A little bit more, just, connected. Right? So first thing is to define vacation, and that's what we did. A vacation is a break. It is time away. It is time spent out of your ordinary routine, out of, what is really consistent for you. Okay, so that's the vacation to me. Then it's also just about, getting really clear in that same way of defining the criteria of your vacation. And that's what we're going to dive into next. So what makes a really great vacation? Okay, I think there are 5 things for me that make a really phenomenal vacation. Okay, number one top of my list is that I am doing something that is out of the ordinary, something that allows me to explore, to go on adventures, to experience things that I don't get to experience in my ordinary life. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that every time I go on vacation, I have to go somewhere brand new, or that I have to, do completely new things every single time. That's not really what it is, right? But it is more saying to myself, what don't I get to do ordinarily? Like at home here, in my everyday life, I don't ordinarily get to do stand-up paddleboard, right? I don't necessarily get to spend every day in the water. I don't actually get to take a nap every day either, but that's part of number two. But like what are those things that I don't get to do on a regular basis that I really want to do more of, okay, that are out of the ordinary? And exploration, experiencing the world around me, experiencing the place where I am on vacation, really getting to know the world through those experiences and expanding, right, my knowledge of the world through my vacation. That sounds pretty phenomenal to me. So that's number one, doing things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, a little bit out of my regular routine, maybe even a little bit out of my comfort zone, so that I can explore and go on adventures and just experience things that I don't ordinarily get to experience. Okay, number two is actually the opposite of that, which is to not do anything at all. And not like not do anything at all, ever, but to have a lot of downtime. I'm not a person who takes a lot of downtime. I am not awesome at downtime. I wish that I was. I'm working on it. I'm getting better at it. But downtime doesn't always come naturally to me. So on vacation, I want the opportunity to rest when I need it, to not feel the pressure to run from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, to not feel like I constantly have to be doing, but instead just being. So like I said, I want to be able to take naps. I want to be able to read my book on the back porch of somewhere really beautiful. I want to be able to just stare off into space, I want to just hang out and chill and just have the ability to be. Because at home, it's a lot harder to do that because there's always something to do. So number two, I want lots of downtime on my vacation. Number three is that I don't want to do any work, like no work. Okay, so ideally that would mean that I don't bring my computer with me, right? Like ideally that would mean that, I would get any work that needs to get done in advance of my vacation. And, I say that like a lot of people I feel like can very easily separate work life and home life. But as somebody who works for herself, as a solopreneur, mompreneur, I don't really like that term, but you get the idea. Or as somebody who owns her own business, not working, generally speaking, means that I'm also not making an income, right? It means that I'm taking time off. It means that people who are used to seeing things from me, seeing me regularly, might not see me as often and then might decide they'd rather go do yoga or self-care or something with somebody else, right? Like somebody else can fill that space and then they're already in a new rhythm when I get back. And so, sometimes the idea of not doing work is actually really stressful, but it's also super necessary, right? Because I'm a person who is connected and working a lot, right? As a small business owner, as a solopreneur, as somebody who owns her and operates her own business, like I'm kind of on the clock a lot of the time, so having that space for myself, that's huge and healthy and super essential. Okay, so no work, or at the bare minimum, a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of work just to check in and make sure that everything's okay, but really no work. Number four is to let go of some of the rigid schedules and rigid routines that I might adhere to in my everyday life. So, and I will be the first person to say, like, I love my schedules and routines. I love consistency. I love knowing what's happening tomorrow and the next day and the next day. I love having a plan. And vacations don't always have a plan, and that can make my routine-loving heart super anxious. Anybody with me? Anybody? I don't think it's just me. But the thing about vacations is that if I force myself to stick to certain routines, it's not going to feel very enjoyable, right? I'm going to feel more bound by the routines than the ability to just enjoy my time, right? To enjoy my space, to enjoy my family, to enjoy the activities that we're going out and doing, or to, enjoy the downtime that I have. So if I'm constantly sticking to a schedule, I lose that. And I will also say, I put a video out very recently about the 5 self-care practices that I bring on vacation, those 5 routines. It's one thing to bring self-care with you on vacation so that you make sure that you're still taking care of yourself. It's another thing to so rigidly adhere to certain practices that you do every single day at home that you are, feeling bound by them, right? That you can't do other things because you have to do those. So self-care routines, yes, keep them on vacation. Okay, but like other routines, like other things that feel kind of forced, like waking up at a certain time or going to bed at a certain time, or bedtime routines for your kids, or like meal prep, way in advance, like those sorts of things. Like there's some things that can be let go. So I think it's really healthy to think of those things that you can let go and actually let go of them. Okay, so number 5, my last one, number 5 is, for me, it's actually having fun with my family. And while I know that sounds like sort of an obvious one, I also think it's really important to mention. And I think it's really important to mention because on vacation, the ideal experience for me is to build my days around enjoyment, right? Around having fun. And the truth is that when I'm not on vacation, I don't always do that. Now, I wish I did. Maybe that's a big goal for future Naomi. And maybe that's something that I'm actually aspiring to and working on in my life. But again, as somebody who works for herself, as somebody who, has 2 kids, as somebody who, feels like she has to be on all the time, I tend to build my days around work and, like getting my kids fed and, changing diapers, hopefully not for too much longer. And for my 3-year-old son. Let's potty train, honey, like sooner the better. But like doing laundry and trying to like keep up the illusion that I can keep my house clean. Like my day is organized around a lot of other things. And while I do have fun and I slip it in when I can, it's not always built around fun. So it's really important to me on vacation to build my days around having fun. So those are my 5. What are your criteria for a really successful, really satisfying vacation? I feel like once you know what those criteria are and once you really know what your definition of vacation is, it can help you establish, whether or not you can actually have a really phenomenal vacation with your kids. And I believe that you can. Right? I believe that if you get that definition for yourself really clear, if you know what a vacation means to you and you know what you want it to be at the start, if you set the criteria and make that criteria super clear, and if you then throw out any idea of perfect, right? Any idea of vacation should be held to the same standard as like pre-baby or pre-kid or pre-whatever, and instead really aim to experience those criteria that you've set for yourself fully, I think that you can have a real vacation with your kids because you're having a vacation. So I'd love to hear what you think about it. You can let me know in the comments below and let me know if you believe you can have a real vacation with your kids and if you've had a real vacation with your kids in the near future or if you are about to. So definitely leave a comment for me in the comments below. And as always, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to chatting with you again soon. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure to subscribe in the bottom left corner so that you can hear these chats weekly with me and make sure they get delivered to your inbox every single week so that we keep up with each other. So again, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you here again really soon. Until then, bye.